She never planned to come back. Ever. But when the phone rang at 3 in the morning, not the old wall-mounted kind from her childhood, but a sleek, silent smartphone whose screen glowed like a warning, she knew something had broken. Not the car. Not the weather. Not a pipe. Life itself had cracked. "Mom's in the hospital," her brother said. His voice held no anger, no resentment, not even exhaustion, just emptiness, as if he'd burned everything inside just to survive. She stayed silent. Her fingers gripped the edge of the blanket as if trying to anchor herself in the present. Outside, rain fell. Rain in Los Angeles in October was rare. Almost as rare as her desire to go home. "I'll come," she said, and the words hung in the air like a sentence. The house stood on a hill in the part of town where roads twist like old scars and pines grow so close together they seem to whisper secrets. The house was exactly as she remembered it, white with green shutters, a porch where Dad used to fix bicycles and Mom baked apple pies every Sunday. But now the shutters were faded, the paint peeling, and the porch held no chairs, no scent of cinnamon. Her brother waited by the steps. He'd aged not 10 years, but 20. His hair had thinned, his shoulders slumped, and his eyes looked through you, not at you. "She won't recognize you," he said without greeting her. "But she's been waiting anyway." She didn't reply. She just walked in. Inside, the air smelled of medicine and old furniture. In the living room sat the same couch where she'd read comics as a child, hidden from her parents' fights, dreaming of escaping as far as possible. Now her mother lay on it, thin, pale, an oxygen tube at her nose. Her eyes were open but vacant. "Hi, Mom," she whispered. Slowly, her mother turned her head. She smiled, or tried to. "You came back on the last Sunday?" She didn't understand. "The last Sunday? Today was Wednesday." "Yes, Mom," she said gently. "I'm back." But inside, everything clenched. Because the last Sunday wasn't just a phrase. It was a memory. Their last Sunday together, the day everything fell apart. It had been 22 years ago. She'd been young, defiant, certain she knew everything. The world was her stage, and her parents were just spectators who didn't grasp the truth. She had to leave. Her place wasn't in this quiet town, in this house filled with pies and endless arguments about who was right. Mom wanted her to attend the local college, become a teacher, marry a good man. She dreamed of New York, of theater, of a life where no one told her how to breathe. Dad had always stayed silent during arguments. He'd just sit in his armchair, turn on the TV, and pretend nothing was happening. But that day, the last Sunday, he stood up. "You're not leaving," he said. "Not now. Not like this." "Why?" "Because you're afraid I'll become someone," she'd shouted. "Because you're not ready," he'd replied, his voice trembling for the first time in her memory. Mom had been crying. Her brother, just a teenager then, stood in the kitchen doorway, fists clenched. "I've already left in my mind," she'd yelled. "You just refuse to see it." And then Mom said the words that shattered everything. "You think we're holding you back out of selfishness? No. We're afraid you'll leave and never come back. And then it'll be too late." She'd laughed, bitterly, mockingly. "Too late for what? Your rules? Your expectations?" "For forgiveness," Mom had whispered. She left that same evening with a suitcase, a credit card, and a grudge she believed was justified. She didn't say goodbye, didn't hug anyone, just slammed the door, and never returned. Now she sat by her mother's bed, holding her dry, cold hand. Her brother brought coffee, set it on the table, and left without a word. He wasn't angry anymore. He was just tired of being the bridge between two worlds, hers and their shared past. "Do you remember baking pies together?" she asked her mother. Mom nodded, her eyes glistening. "You always used too much cinnamon. I'd scold you and you'd laugh. And you still ate them," she smiled. "Of course. You're my daughter." Silence settled in the room, not heavy, not bitter, just quiet, as if time had decided to give them a chance. Then Mom whispered, "Forgive me." "For what?" she asked, surprised. for never telling you how proud I am of you." Tears welled up unbidden. She hadn't cried in 20 years, not at her father's funeral. He died 3 years after she left. She'd read about it in the newspaper. Not when she won her first award, not when her play opened on Broadway. But now she cried. "I should be the one asking for forgiveness, Mom. I left and didn't come back." "You came back today," Mom said. "That's enough." Her brother returned an hour later. Night had fallen outside. "The doctor says she has a few days left," he said, not looking at her. "I know. Will you stay?" "Yes." He nodded. Paused. "I was angry with you for a very long time. I thought you'd just forgotten us." "I didn't forget. I just didn't know how to come back." "Sometimes it's enough to just show up," he said. And for the first time in 20 years, they hugged briefly, awkwardly, but sincerely. She stayed. Every day, she read her mother the books she loved in her youth. She baked apple pies, now with just the right amount of cinnamon. She talked with her brother about childhood, about life, about how strange it was that time heals but doesn't erase. Her mother passed away Friday morning. Quietly, peacefully, with her daughter's hand in hers. At the funeral, the whole family gathered, aunts, uncles, cousins she barely remembered. Everyone said, "It's such a shame you were away so long." But no one judged. They just looked at her, with sadness and understanding. After the service, her brother approached. "The house is yours now, if you want it. And you. I bought a place in town. But I'll visit. Often." She nodded. Looked at the house. At the porch. At the pines. "I'll stay for a while," she said. "Good." A week later, she found her mother's jewelry box in the closet. Inside were letters, dozens of them. All addressed to her. None ever sent. "Dear one, it's your birthday today. I think you'd love this pie. They showed New York on TV today. I pictured you walking down the street. I don't know if you're still angry. But I love you. Always have." She cried all evening. Then she wrote her first letter to herself. About forgiveness. About home. About how sometimes the hardest thing isn't leaving, but returning. She didn't leave. She opened a small acting studio in the neighboring town. On Sundays, she visits her brother. They bake pies. Sometimes they laugh. Sometimes they sit in silence. And every time the phone rings, she answers right away. Because now she knows. Time doesn't wait. And love doesn't need perfect words. Just presence.